Welcome to Lindsay Live. Thank you for tuning in to our program. Today, we're talking about the Lindsay vision of growing our own. We believe that Lindsay's performance-based system provides an ideal learning experience and sets our graduates up to become successful, contributing members of society. No matter where they go or what they decide to do, we feel confident that they will find success because they are prepared not only academically, but as lifelong learners. In a previous episode, we referred to our graduates as our gift to the world. That's how strongly we believe in them. As a matter of fact, we believe so strongly in the potential of our graduates that we've designed a program to make sure they are the ones working alongside us in the future and carrying the Lindsay vision into the next generation. We believe that Lindsay graduates are uniquely equipped to serve in the performance-based system as learning facilitators and provide the ideal learning experience for the young minds of tomorrow. Not only are our graduates lifelong learners who understand the Lindsay performance-based system and all that it has to offer, but they're also the ones who have lived the Lindsay story and have shared many of the same experiences that the young learners are living through right now. We want to do everything we can to make sure that our Lindsay graduates and those who have served in the system as classified employees have the best possible opportunity to receive quality post-college training and professional development to prepare them for successful careers as learning facilitators at Lindsay Unified and other districts throughout the Central Valley. The Lindsay Teacher Residency Program is one of those opportunities. The program pairs Lindsay graduates who have recently received their bachelor's degree with one of the district's top veteran learning facilitators. Each resident is matched up with a mentor learning facilitator based on their skills, needs, aspirations, and personalities. Residents will serve for a full year, co-teaching alongside their mentor in the learning environment. They will witness firsthand what an ideal learning experience looks like in action, and get a behind-the-scenes look at the preparation, planning, and strategy that makes it possible. They will have the opportunity to take over the learning environment, as responsibilities are gradually released to them over the course of the year. Residents will receive university-level training as they work to complete a master's degree in education and have immediate access to one of the district's most experienced and successful learning facilitators as they complete their credential. We believe that this program will produce high-quality future learning facilitators who will contribute to the Lindsay vision and pay forward the excellent learning experience that they have received onto future Lindsay learners. Joining us today are a few of the key players in the founding of the Lindsay Teacher Residency Program. Yazmin Martin is the coordinator of Teacher Residency. She's been serving Lindsay as a learning facilitator and curriculum developer for the past 10 years and has laid the framework for the residency program, directing the project in its first year of existence. Kristy Caesar is a mentor learning facilitator at the Lincoln Learning Community. She's been teaching for 20 years and is currently in her 9th year with Lindsay, running one of the most successful PBS learning environments in the district. Finally, we're joined by Sayla Arguelles. Sayla is a Lindsay graduate who recently completed her degree in liberal studies at CSU Monterey. She is part of the inaugural class of teacher residents and has been co-teaching with Kristy at Lincoln since the beginning of the school year. They'll share their perspectives on the first season of this exciting new program, what's been working, what's been challenging, and what the program means for the future of Lindsay. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned to Lindsay Live. Welcome to Lindsay Live. We're talking about the Lindsay Unified School District Teacher Residency Program, and I've got Yazmin Martin, Kristy Caesar, and Sayla Arguelles on the line to talk about what it means to grow our own. Yazmin, I want to start off with you because last year this program wasn't much more than a vision. That vision was growing our own. What does that mean, and what have you been doing to bring that vision to life?
Hi, Ian and everyone. Thank you for having me here. This residency is really about our community here in Lindsay and in the Central Valley. I feel like this residency program is an investment in Lindsay and a commitment to our learners that they're going to receive the very best learning facilitator. And I know we have produced these graduates here in Lindsay or classified staff that are committed to providing them that experience because they have gone through that experience. So who better to provide that experience than them? Because we truly do believe in that.
One of the reasons that we want to grow our own is because we believe Lindsay products understand better than anyone the Lindsay story that our learners are living. And they have that connection to the community that you were just talking about. Now, you personally aren't a graduate of Lindsay High School, but you grew up in this area, and I've heard you say the Lindsay story is your story. Tell us a little bit about your background, why you relate to the Lindsay story, and why that is important to your role in this program.
I'm from a small town called Ivanhoe, which is about 30 minutes away from Lindsay. And Ivanhoe and Lindsay have pretty much the same demographics. It's made up of about 90% Hispanic. Most of the population is low income. My parents only know Spanish, like a lot of parents here in Lindsay. My dad worked in the fields and my mom worked in a packing house, like a lot of the parents here in Lindsay. They also only went to elementary school, like 5th grade in Mexico. But even though they only had limited education, they always wanted the best for me and my brothers, and they wanted to ensure that we had the best opportunities and the best education that they never had, which is something that I see with our Lindsay parents. Our Lindsay parents want the best for their children. Our Lindsay parents want the best opportunities that we can provide to their children, just like my parents. That's why I always say that the Lindsay story is my story.
And Kristy, you did not grow up in the Central Valley, but you've been serving the Lindsay community pretty much since the beginning of our transition to the performance-based system. You're also a parent to 3 LHS graduates. What's something that you've seen in Lindsay PBS graduates that makes you believe they are the ideal leaders for future Lindsay learning environments?
Hi, Ian, and hi, everyone. First of all, I believe the same as LUSD believes that relationships are really important in anything you do. And I think having relationships with past learners and these future teaching partners that we're going to have is just really, really important. And I think our PBS system, but also just our district, really believes in relationships. And I know that Sayla had outstanding relationships with her learning facilitators, and I see her now doing that in the classroom. So I think one ideal thing is having relationships. Another thing that makes these future Lindsay learning facilitators so important is they just have experienced what we do. So they know Empower. They know how we allow learners to move at their own pace because they actually did it themselves. So when they come into our learning environment, they can relate to what the learners are doing and what the LF is doing because that's what they did when they were in the classroom. And then also, I think what makes our learners so ideal is that they have that dream. And we've always allowed our learners to try to meet that dream, and we've provided a lot of opportunities so that they can have learner agency and be able to follow the dream that they want.
What about Sayla in particular? What's it been like having her in your learning environment this year?
What's really fun about Sayla is Sayla went to school with both of my children and was on teams with them. So it was so nice before she even came in. I already had that relationship with her, which was just a great kickoff for the beginning of the year for us. Having Sayla has been just amazing. Not only has it been really fun to have Sayla come in and work with us and be one of our team members, but also it's been fun to see her grow. And knowing her since she was in a freshman of high school and getting her to see her now leading and facilitating a bunch of 4 and 5-year-olds is so fun. Also, just having someone else to collaborate with and having someone else to reflect with and having someone else to share ideas with has been just a wonderful opportunity.
And Sayla, how's the experience going for you? What has it been like working with Kristy?
Hello, everyone. Well, I just want to start off by saying how honored I am to be a part of this program. It's nice to come back and be able to work in a community with familiar faces and familiar community assets. So it's been really nice being able to work alongside with Kristy 4 days out of the week. She gets to have me and I get to have her. Also having seminars once a week and meeting with the Lindsay cohort ladies. They've been so awesome. It's been a great experience. In this program, we have this thing called gradual releases. So in the beginning of the year, I just kind of took over just a little bit. Got my feet in the water and worked on classroom management. And it was nice because I had Yazmin, my coordinator, and Kristy, my mentor, be there to give us quick feedback right away. Me and Kristy get to sit after school and plan and collaborate on things and just talk about all of our resources within this district. It's also been fun being beside Kristy, co-teaching a lot of fun activities with these 4 and 5-year-olds. So my experience has been really great so far.
And you have been officially hired by Lindsay Unified, so you will be returning to Lindsay as a learning facilitator next year. So congratulations on that, first and foremost.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited.
Do you feel like this program has prepared you for that role? Are you ready to lead a learning environment all on your own next school year?
Yes, I can confidently say yes, I will be prepared to work in our school district next year. Thanks to Kristy and Yazmin and everybody admin in this district have given me a lot of resources and just time to explore even more. I've been in this district since I was in kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. So just to see things on the learning facilitator side is a lot more fun and engaging, and being able to make those connections with the learners. I also love how the Alder program and Lindsay Unified School District really focus on the whole child or the learner for preparing them for academics, social and emotional aspects in their lives, and performance-based learning. For this program, we get to meet once a week in a seminar, and we get to engage in conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how we can incorporate these things. So it's really fun to be able to get those tools from our seminars and bring it back to my mentor and say, okay, this is what I have to work on this week. How can I incorporate it into my lesson? And we really co-teach and figure it out. So I think I'll be able to be very prepared for next year.
And we are all very excited to have you in your learning environment next year. We started talking there a little bit about Alder, the graduate school that we've partnered with for this program. Tell us about who they are and what their role is.
Alder is a graduate school of education that have the same beliefs as Lindsay. They believe that a learner best learns from someone that looks like them, that is in the same community as them, that knows them, and really understands who they are as a person because they are around them.
Aside from having a shared set of beliefs, what does Alder actually do for the residency?
Alder bridges practice and theory to ensure that our residents are prepared and ready to teach what our learners need. They provide the courses necessary for our residents to get their credential and their master's. But most importantly, what we love about Alder is that they prepare our educators like we would prepare our doctors, where whatever they're learning in their coursework, they're applying it to their fieldwork. By that, what I mean is that they have this rigorous curriculum that is research-based, that they know is effective and works with communities like Lindsay. The residents apply this coursework immediately to their fieldwork with their learners, and they see that success. It's been just so nice seeing how the residents see this success, the mentors see this success, and it's just been such a great collaboration between Alder and Lindsay.
Why is it important for learners to have learning facilitators from their own community who share a similar background and culture?
Oh my gosh, it's been great to see how comfortable and safe our learners feel with every single resident. I can see the connections our residents make with our learners and how easy it is for our residents to be culturally relevant. My residents grew up in this community or have worked in this community, so they know our learners and families.
I've been able to make relationships with the learners because of that. We have festivals in our town that we get to talk about in our classrooms, and all these events that go on in our little community. And I think just having that small community charm makes it so much easier to build those relationships. And I think that's really important for us as learning facilitators.
And I'd like to add to that too. I think it again is all about relationships. And I see Sayla with living in our community, and she can say, oh, I saw so-and-so at Save Mart. And they're like, we saw you. And just, all the connections that she has with the learners, because she is such an invested part of this community, just makes learning easier for the learners because they have someone to start building that relationship with and have those connections. So it's really important, again, just having those relationships.
What about from an aspirational standpoint? What does it mean for a young person, especially one who might be interested in pursuing a career in education, to see someone in a position of success who comes from a similar background and has overcome many of the same obstacles that they might face?
it excites them and it gets them really motivated because whenever I am out in the community and I do see familiar faces, because when I was in Lindsay High School, I did play sports. I was in a lot of after school activities. I see familiar faces, and when I see them and I hear that they're interested in becoming a learning facilitator, I tell them about all of these amazing programs, especially Alder, that the district has to offer. And so when I tell them about it, you can see the motivation, like, oh, okay, so what are the steps, or how do I get in contact with somebody, and I'm able to have those resources for them. So I think that's really motivating for them.
I also think in addition, it gives them hope that they can do something different than maybe what their parents did.
Seeing and hearing success stories like Sayla, who are going to be teaching in Lindsay, is giving our new candidates hope, like Kristy was saying. It really has excited our community. So as we're getting applicants for the next cohort, the applicants will tell me how they heard about the residency through the community, a family member, or they knew or had seen a resident in one of our schools. So that's been really great to hear.
There is certainly a lot of excitement around this program, and we've seen a number of our residents get hired either here in Lindsay or in a neighboring district. So let's talk about why we've had success. What is special about this program, and what separates a residency from a traditional student teaching program?
A couple areas that I've seen is, first of all, getting to spend the whole year in a learning environment is a game changer. Because I just remember years ago when I got my student teaching, I taught just at the end of the year. So I never knew what the expectations were for the beginning of the year. So I think a real positive to this program is that they're with us all year. And then the second thing I think is the stipend. And I think the stipend releases probably stress for Sayla, that she can just focus on school and she can focus on being in the learning environment and not having to worry about financial concerns. And so I think that's a real big positive. And then the third positive, I think just having other residents to talk about and reflect with. I know Sayla's done a lot of that with her cohort, and I think that's a real positive.
What kind of collaboration? Because every resident is in a different learning environment with a different mentor. So what kind of opportunities do you have to work together?
In our residency, we are able to meet once or twice a week with our cohort, and it's been wonderful. This is the time that we get to discuss coursework or things that are going on in our learning environments, which is awesome because you're in a group with all these different people who are at different sites, but they're going through the same thing as you. We get to talk about our takeover days. We get to talk about some coursework. We get to talk about what are things that are working for us, what are not working for us. And then we also get to share resources with each other. So I think that's another plus, that we're able to collaborate and learn how to work with one another, because once we do get into a placement, there is times that we're going to be collaborating with others. So I think it's also good practice.
Sayla, can you tell them more about the group text?
Right in the beginning of the summer, once we started this program, we started a group chat right away, and being from the same community, again, we share that connection, we share that bond, we're able to connect very quick. So it's been really fun. We've had a lot of fun times. We send Yazmin text messages. She's been so open for us to call her and bug her whenever we need, or my mentor, she's been very open as well. Anytime we need help, and if we're looking for an assignment, we have our group chat. We feel that connection or that relationship where we can call one another and say, hey, what is this assignment? I'm struggling with it. Or, hey, this went really good for me. What about you? So that's another great connection we were able to make.
Also, as I have been telling the residents, some of them will continue to work together in the future. So it's been really great to see the relationships forming between them. And mentors also have a monthly seminar with me where they have the opportunity to collaborate with each other. So during these seminars, the mentors and I get to discuss the monthly gradual releases and what that may look like. We also discuss new co-teaching styles that will benefit the growth of the resident and support the learning of our learners. I give them a safe space where they can discuss what is working and what supports they may need, and it has been really nice to see the mentors provide each other with solutions, resources, and ideas. I have really seen the growth in our mentors being reflective practitioners as the year has progressed.
You're building connections mentor to mentor, you're building connections resident to resident, But what's happening in the learning environment? What impact does it have on the learners when they have two learning facilitators? And how has it helped the two of you grow as educators?
The biggest takeaway I've had from this is I've done a lot of reflecting on my own personal teaching. And also how I'm presenting things to Sayla is causing me to think about how I'm planning and what I'm doing in lessons. Also, I've used some of her resources to check myself, like to make sure that I'm doing a closing or an exit ticket or things like that. So it's really grown me as a learning facilitator through this process. As for our learners, wow, they just love having two LS. They know that we're both their LS. They know they can come to either one of us. They know that we're both there for them and we're both giving them the best instruction we can. They also love asking us questions when one of us is not there. They're like, "Where's so and so?" And they know that we're both a team. And I think if anything, it's just helped our learners to grow even more than they would if it would have just been me by myself.
It brings different personalities up on stage, I would like to call it. But when we're instructing, Kristy's very upbeat and, fun and exciting. And so I try to bring that energy too. So once they see two different teaching styles, it's something different. And so they're engaged constantly and just always having fun while we're learning.
During those times when Kristy isn't in the learning environment, it sounds like you're saying that Sayla runs the class all on her own as if she was the learning facilitator on record. Is that something that's unique to your residency?
Sayla is given the opportunity to be the solo learning facilitator and be on her own when Kristy is with me and the other mentors during mentor seminar. This really does provide Sayla the opportunity to develop her own teaching style, like she mentioned, and have the opportunity to practice the different routines, procedures, and teach the different subjects on her own. And this residency is also unique where we have 3 solo takeover opportunities where residents once again get to teach on their own without having the mentor there. And the responsibility is also gradually released where residents are given the opportunity to teach on their own for 3 days and then eventually to 5 days. During this time, while mentors are out, they are either in mentor seminar with me, they get some prep time, or they're given also more professional opportunities to continue to develop themselves.
It's also nice knowing that when I'm going to be out of the classroom, I know my learners are in good hands. I also know that Sayla knows how we do our procedures and our SOPs, and she knows learners that might need more support, ones that might need to be challenged more. I mean, it's such a good feeling to know when I'm not going to be there that my class is in excellent hands. So that's a really nice benefit of the program too.
I also wanted to add about the benefits of having 2 learning facilitators. In the beginning, our residents may be supporting a small group or learner, but then eventually both of the resident and the mentor may be teaching a different learning target or standard to meet the needs of the learners. Now, Kristy may be teaching a standard to one group of learners, while Sayla is moving on with the rest of the group and teaching a different standard. And I have really seen the growth learners gain from this co-teaching style. In Lindsay, we believe in growth mindset and being lifelong learners, and I see how our learners see this with our residents and mentors. Our learners are benefiting from seeing how our residents are learning from our mentors and vice versa, and they get to see the coaching that is happening, which allows them to also be comfortable showing the growth mindset they see with the adults who are facilitating their learning.
Okay, so we've covered a whole bunch of exciting benefits offered through our residency program. But it can't be all blueberries and paper airplanes now, can it? What are some of the challenges that you faced, and what advice would you have for the next group of mentors and residents who will have to overcome them next year?
The first challenge I would say there's a little bit of a challenge as a mentor. You have this learning environment that you're responsible for the data and you're responsible for the growth that these learners make. And you're starting to give and starting to share some of your lessons and your planning and your instruction. And so I know my fellow mentor teachers struggled with that. It was a hard thing for them to give over instruction or give over time that they wanted to be with their learners. So I'd say that would be a challenge for some. And if anyone's thinking of being a resident or a mentor, it's something to think about. But as far as challenges, we've had our fair share of challenges this year. We had a flood in our classroom. So Sayla got to experience moving a classroom in the middle of the year and starting up a whole new learning environment. We've had a lot of COVID, we've had shutdowns. So she's got to experience a lot of ways to handle that. In addition, we also have an aide in our room. And so Sayla's had to learn just the challenges of working with not just one other adult in the room, but a couple other adults in the room, and how to manage them and how to work with different personalities. So I think those have been some of the challenges that we've faced.
A challenge that I saw was that mentors wanted to see what other mentors were doing. And because of COVID, we weren't really able to do that this year. So this is something that I want to implement next year, and maybe even incorporate videos where they get to see each other through videos or actually go inside the learning environments.
And I had one other challenge that I found, of course, the challenge of time. And I feel like I always want more time with Sayla. I want to show her this, and I didn't get time to show her this, but I really need to prep this to get ready for my learners. Time's always going to be a challenge, but of course, I'd love more time, maybe just within the year, to have maybe just some one-on-one time during the day that we would have no interruptions. I could spend just really making sure they understand a certain thing that we're talking about. Or so, of course, time.
I was just going to say, as you ladies were speaking, you couldn't even tell that you guys, were going through something like that, because both of you, Yazmin and Kristy, have been so awesome. It's hard to come up with a challenge, but the only one I could think of is just not being able to work with my cohort in person due to COVID. So it would be nice to be able to go into a room somewhere and just sit down and talk about all of the things that we're going through, coursework, our emotions about all of this, because it's all new and it can become overwhelming, but it's nice to talk to somebody.
This year, as Sayla said, we had our resident seminars over Zoom for safety reasons, but next year we're starting our sessions in person. So I have listened to the feedback and we'll be making these changes.
Well, let's talk more about next year. Next year, you'll have all of these residents taking on new roles as learning facilitators with classrooms of their own, either here in Lindsay or in a neighboring district. And at the same time, you'll have a whole new crop of residents and mentors coming in. So what's the plan? What adjustments will you make? What will you do to continue the relationships you've built with this year's residents? And what's the future vision for the program as a whole?
For this cohort 1, which are the residents who are graduating this program and moving on to becoming learning facilitators or teachers, my goal is to continue to support their network by having all of us get together at least 3 times during the school year to celebrate how everyone is doing and to continue to collaborate and continue to have these relationships that we formed. As for the residency for next year, we're not only limiting it to K-8, but we're also going to be expanding it to single subject and SPED credentials. We will also be partnering with 3 local districts, Woodlake, Dinuba, and Cutler-Orosi Joint. And the reason that we're doing this is because we're expanding to not only growing Lindsay, but growing the Central Valley.
Well, the future for Sayla and I is that we will continue to work together, really hoping Sayla will be a part of our primary team in some way. As Sayla knows, I will be here for her to answer any questions or support her or meet with her after school or do whatever she needs to help her be successful. So it's nice because we already had that relationship, and now we even have a stronger relationship. She's like a daughter to me. So there's no way I'm going to let her not succeed.
I tell Yazmin and Kristy, I'm going to call you guys, or I'll be in your classroom every day or once a week, or just being able to contact those girls in my cohort or people in the admin that I've been introduced to, and makes me feel more comfortable and confident going into next year.
I have expressed to my residents throughout this whole school year that in this residency, they will build and form relationships that will last for the rest of their lives. And I have seen these relationships forming between the residents and the mentors. I hear the residents joke with their mentors that they will continue to text them this school year and then the next school year. And residents have told me this as well, that even though they have graduated from this residency, they're not going to stop texting me. And I'm really going to be holding them accountable because this is what the relationship was. And we're going to continue this. And I just want to say that I'm very proud of this cohort, both the residents and the mentors.
Sayla Arguelles, Kristy Caesar, Yazmin Martin, thank you all so much for taking the time to call in and chat with me today. It sounds like LUSD has plenty of reason to be excited about the future.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Yazmin. Thank you, Sayla.
And thank you for listening. Join us on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud, and hit that follow button so you won't miss the next exciting and informative conversation right here on Lindsay Live.